Welcome to the Matrix. This is an introduction to the TIM, the Technology Integration Matrix. My name's Angela Drake. I've been a classroom teacher since 2012, and I've been using one-to-one technology since 2014. I have extensive experience teaching adults in educational technology, and I'm currently a candidate for a master's degree in educational technology. Let's get started. Most of you are familiar with SAMR. It stands for substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. These are those four categories of classroom technology integration. However, SAMR does not provide tools to evaluate the level of technology integration. Only TIM does that, and the TIM suite of tools allow teachers and educational technologists to gather data, give feedback, and observe teachers using technology. After this presentation, you will be able to identify TIM Suite products and tell their functions. You'll be able to describe the 5 levels of technology integration and describe the 5 characteristics of the learning environment. And you'll be able to use that knowledge of the 5 levels and the characteristics to evaluate technology integration in the classroom. Let's look at the TIM tools. There are 7. Watch as the progression happens on your right-hand side. These are the acronyms. TUPS, those are technology uses and perceptions. This is a survey where you can collect data for special initiatives, technology initiatives. You can decide on technology purchase options based on survey responses. You can identify where to target professional development, and you can facilitate coaching through the TUPS survey. TIM-O is your observational tool. This is where you will record your feedback for walkthroughs, peer coaching, grant evaluations, professional development. This is where you record your observations in an online tool. In the lesson plan review tool, this is similar to the TIM-O, but it keeps your results separate from the TIM observational tool. Likewise, the lesson reflection tool mirrors the TIM-O tool. However, this one will be completed by the teacher, and you can compare the results of the observer and the teacher. Sometimes there's a difference in perception. It's important to compare those two perceptions. RD is the action research for technology integration. This provides the framework for an inquiry. So it has 5 basic steps. Identify the question, describe the context, collect data, analyze your data, and publish your creation of findings. In the coaching tool, you can record the goals, activities, progress, and outcomes from the coaching cycle. It also allows people to come in and out of that coaching relationship. So this is a nice framework for creating that coaching system. And then finally, there is a survey tool that allows districts to create surveys to the wider community. There are already built-in surveys and a starter library to push out information and collect data from the wider community. In our face-to-face, I offer 3 questions to allow participants to practice with the tools and identify which tools you would use in certain scenarios. This is question 1, this is question 2, and this is question 3. We'll be using Slido to collect that data. This is the matrix. You'll notice 2 domains. Along the top, you have levels of technology integration, and on the left-hand column, you'll see characteristics of learning environment. Let's look at the levels of technology integration. You'll see a progression from left to right. You'll see a continuum where teacher ownership of learning shifts over to student ownership of learning. Each move along that continuum shows that students start taking a little bit more control and make more decisions. The 5 levels of technology integration are thus: entry, adoption, adaptation, infusion, and transformation. Let's go through each of them. In the entry level, the teacher controls most of the technology. The teacher makes most of the decisions. This doesn't mean that it's easy or it's wrong to do entry level because it's simple. Every student needs to have that basis of practicing with the technology in a controlled environment. Every step along the continuum is more practice. You can't get to transformation unless you've done these early steps. So entry is not bad, entry is needed. Let's go to adoption. In adoption, teacher directs student in the conventional and procedural use of technology. So the teacher is handing over the program and will tell the student step by step how to operate it. In adaptation, however, students will be more independent in how they use it. Students are more familiar. They will have been through an entry level, they will have been through an adoption, and now they're in an adaptation step where you don't have to give them procedural instruction step by step. Infusion is where the student provides the learning context and students are allowed more control and more decision making within that task that they're using. Now will have had those 4 steps ahead, so students are a little bit more comfortable using technology, and teacher can guide students through making the decisions. And finally, in transformation, these are activities that could not happen but for technology. These are going to facilitate the highest order of thinking skills. Students are going to recombine their knowledge. They're going to use technology a little bit more creatively than they would have in the earlier stages of technology integration. These are the 5 learning environments, and you'll notice that each of them has an icon that helps you recognize it as we move along. Active learning is where students are actively engaged and participating with the technology instead of passively receiving it. And you'll notice along this continuum, there are different descriptions based on the technology integration. In the collaborative learning environment, students are using technology tools to collaborate with one another instead of individual work. In the constructive learning environment, students are actively participating with the content and they are learning about the content using technology. They're constructing their knowledge and connecting it to prior knowledge. In an authentic learning environment, students are using their technology to link to the outside world. They're going beyond their 4 walls and they're using technology in real world applications of the knowledge that they're learning in class. And then finally, in a goal-centered, goal-directed learning environment, students are using technology to set the goals, plan their activities, monitor progress, evaluate the results. Essentially, they're doing project management and they're keeping track of what they're doing in order to meet a certain goal. You can find the matrix online at the website for the Florida Center of Instructional Technology. You'll see the URL on the right-hand side. You'll notice that you have your levels along the top, you have your characteristics along the left-hand side, and each of the inner 25 cells are interactive as well. When you click upon those cells, you will be directed to a page with extended descriptors on student roles, teacher roles, and an explanation of what the classroom setting will look like. In our face-to-face workshop, we are going to go through 3 scenarios where I will show you a video of a scenario. You will decide what level of learning environment and technology integration you see in each of these videos. And we go over a reflection, what features of the lesson resulted in that evaluation. We do that with 3 different scenarios. One question that I hear often is I'm not ready to start using the TIM tools. I'm having a hard time differentiating one level of technology integration between the next, and I'm having a hard time defining the learning environments. Have no worries on that front at this point. When you start using the TIM observational tools, the notes that you take and the questions that you answer will define the level of integration and will help you determine the learning environment. So no worries on that front. The next question that I hear often as well is I can't find the observation tool online. How do I know what I'm expected to do? Where do I find it online? You can find on the website samples of what people have done before and screenshots of the tool itself, but in order to use the tool, you will have to get a link from your district because the tool is available through licensing and through subscription only. So you will not be able to have immediate access to the tool unless your district purchases a license. And the last question that I hear often is, I don't have a lot of time to watch the videos online. Is this something that should be done on teacher time or will it be done during PD? Well, be assured that the videos are supplemental and simply there to provide examples of what goal-directed learning looks like, what authentic learning looks like, and to show you the different ways in which the students move along that continuum from teacher-centered to student-centered. So no worries if you're not watching the videos. They are simply there as an additional resource. And no worries, they are pretty short and easy to watch. I welcome your feedback. Please take this short poll at tinyurl.com/Drake Matrix and do email me if you have any questions, comments, feedback, any specific things that you want to learn more about for future PD. I would love to provide that for you and do that investigating myself and help you out. Thank you so much for your time and your attention.